again. Welcome back, fam, to the Uplifting Waiting Room podcast. Always nice for you guys to join us on another day with Ro. Ro, it's you and I tonight.
Just me and you.
How was your week?
It was crazy this week. I got into my little mode a little bit.
Okay.
Not a good one.
It happens.
My back been killing me. My manager put me on the floor, bringing in patients, and mode did a little something to me.
All right. I know. I mean, that's how it is. You know, it's
Friday.
Friday.
Happens at the old age.
It happens. You say old age. I say youthful age.
Yeah, I know.
Gotta
So
be
we got
youthful.
this thing going. She does not like saying the word old, and I will say it very clear and proud.
You could be old and still be youthful,
That's true.
right?
But we old. My body's telling me.
All right. Your body is telling you, but she's still youthful though, even
I
though she
am.
doesn't want to agree with me.
No, I'm very youthful.
Yes.
I'm very, very youthful.
So what can we say? Some positive thing for the viewers before we dive into our discussion today that we're gonna piggyback from last
Okay.
time. Something positive for someone who's listening to this podcast.
Something positive. I'm gonna be quick and easy. Believe in yourself
I like.
and love you first. Because if you can't love you first, how are you gonna love someone else? Even if you have a child, they say, you love your child first, and I somewhat agree with that. But at the same time, if you don't love yourself and you're depressed or whatever the case may be, how can you give that good, adequate love to your child if you ain't right? And children feel it, so.
I like that. Believe in yourself. I got one to just piggyback off of that is try to always have a positive mindset.
Right.
No matter how much negativity is around, always try to have a positive mindset because it's always in your mind.
Right.
So just I know it's not easy. It's easier said than done. But positive mindset and positive people. You could do it.
True.
You could do it. But the last time you were on here, Ro, we talk about a lot of stuff. About you growing up, your family, and we had gotten into the ADHD conversation. And I just want us to continue with that because we really didn't, go too much into it the last time we were here about, you having ADHD and anxiety growing up on the east side of Providence. So I just want you just to give the viewers just a little bit of your experience. And granted, it's not that we're saying we're, professionals and we're giving advice on ADHD. If someone is, suffering from ADHD or think you have ADHD, that's something you can reach out to your local provider for more care. But Rose is here to give her experience on it and what she experienced. So I'll give the mic over to you so you can get into that.
Okay, so I feel like everybody's different. With ADHD, they have different characteristics to it, but sometimes certain people have certain ones and things to that nature. So with me, growing up, I didn't even know I had it. I always thought I was odd. With certain things, I always thought I was odd. I was like, why do I think like that? You know what I mean? But I just didn't know what it was. I knew I was always impulsive and things to that nature. I always knew. People don't think that I had a confidence issue. I really have a confidence issue, and I definitely self-sabotage myself a lot. So I'm 40, and I'm in that stage where I'm trying to get out of it. Before I tried to get out of it, but I fell back into that.
Okay.
I'm a big procrastinator. That comes along with ADHD. And when people say they have ADHD and they're talking about how they procrastinate, I always tell them, just do it.
Yeah.
Because I have to tell myself that. Like, there's times where I'm like, I got to get up and do X, Y, and Z. And then I'm still laying there an hour later, and I be like, you know what? Bro, you really just got to do it. Like, you tell everybody else, just do it. And then I'll get up and do it. There's some times where I won't, but you just got to do it. So I started, I got diagnosed at, 38, technically. So I believe it was, I don't know if it was high school or college. We was talking about like ADD and ADHD and things to that nature. And when the teacher was talking, I was like, yo, I do that. I got that. So I was walking around saying I got ADHD. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm not diagnosed, but I know I got ADHD.
Yeah.
Just not messing around. I was really serious, but messing around. You know what I mean? But I was never diagnosed. So back to me being 38 now, my job was driving me crazy. I could handle stress very well, but at this point, I felt like I was gonna explode. So I ended up talking to a psychiatrist, and she had me fill out her questionnaire and everything. And she said to me, she goes, when we talked, she said, "You got some serious ADHD going on over there."
Wow.
And I said, "I know I do. So that mean you're diagnosing me?" And we laughed and we talked and everything like that. I ended up taking Adderall, which I should have been on that a long time ago. I don't like medication. Like, that's my last option. I'll go through pain before I take pain meds.
Yeah.
I'd rather eat a whole season of turmeric before I take a Tylenol. But yeah. So once she diagnosed me, I felt like everything came into play because like she reassured me, this is what you got. I had to go through different things and stuff, but she reassured me. And then like the whole thing when she said I have anxiety, I already knew it. My whole family got anxiety. They would never say they do. Well, majority of them say, I ain't got no anxiety. My family yells. All they do is yell. I'm like, you could talk to me. What you yelling at for? Like, that don't make no sense. But I'm very self-aware and I'm very aware of my surroundings. So I'm very aware of my family and their characteristics. So even at a young age, I used to be like, this family's crazy. They got too much anxiety. They're always worked up. They're always yelling. But sometimes I do the same thing. But I felt like I caught that at the teenage years.
Yeah.
Like I caught, all right, I'm always yelling when I just need to talk to somebody, And my younger cousins taught me how to talk to people.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that you mentioned that it was at age 38 that you were diagnosed.
Because, so I have coping skills that I go by, I live for. And at that time, they wasn't working. It was my environment and it was mostly at work, but I couldn't control it.
Yeah.
Where there was someone there I could go to and be like, listen, why are you getting worked up in the morning? You're bringing this energy. It got to a point where I was swearing at them. I'm like, yo, I'm getting sick and tired of your like.
Yeah.
And I would go to you every morning and be like, yo, I'm about to walk out. And that's my impulsiveness with that ADHD.
Yeah.
Like I was so impulsive. Like it was just coming out of me left and right. And I just couldn't like handle it. And I was just like, you know what? I need a Zen. I'm based on energy.
Yeah.
And that, it was a lot of bad energy and I had to go.
Yeah.
I came back, but I had to go.
So would you say from the time, when did you know, like you mentioned that you knew even growing up you were different, right? So at what age you knew that, hey, I'm different. I'm doing things differently.
I was young. I was young. I want to say 7, 8. I knew I was different.
Yeah.
Especially from the other kids because in my family, when the adults talk, They could be dead wrong, but you can't say not a word back.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I would, because I was talking back. You are not talking to me any old way. You're not disrespecting me. I don't care who you are. I'll respect you. You respect me. If I'm not disrespecting you, what's the point of talking to me the way you're talking to me? And in my family, this is what it is. And no, it's not what it is. Because now if this is what it is for you, this is what it is for me. So right then and there, I always knew.
Yeah.
I was different, and I always had to sit with the adults. I'll play with the kids a little bit, but, I always got a joke. So I had to go with the adults.
Sometimes a cultural thing, too.
Right.
No.
Right. So for me, because I think a lot of my family got ADHD as well. We just never got diagnosed.
Yeah.
So a lot of things I did, they done did too. You know what I'm saying? So in our household, it was the norm.
Yeah.
So now when I do say it, at first a few cousins was like, we figured that. When someone's just like quiet. Like I never had nobody be like, all right, now I understand you. Or it ain't that they're not giving me support, but they just look at me as real.
Yeah.
This is what it is. I'm either the loud, sickening, annoying. They hopefully I think they love me. You know what I'm saying? They love me, but I know I get on their nerves.
I think a lot of time, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think a lot of time with any type of mental health issues, especially in our African American community, for me, I'm from West Africa. Within our African American community, that's one of the topics that is never really discussed.
Right.
You know.
Right. Like even like counseling. My mother be like looking at me like, what?
What are we doing that for?
Right. I'm like, what? You
We
mean?
handle it right here amongst ourselves.
No, we can't, because I for her, we need that third person. Because I'm one of them that, even though I got ADHD, I analyze everything. So, like, you know, I'll go off the deep end first. You know, I'm very impulsive, like I said. And then I could sit back and analyze everything. And even if I'm right, I still analyze everything and be like, I was wrong in this, because I know my character, and I know that I could be calm and I could talk things out, because, you know, I like to talk and talk things out. But my mother's my trigger, so I go off the deep end real quick with her. So I'll sit back and be like, bro, you didn't have to say that. I said that just to get her mad. You know what I mean? So I'll go downstairs and be like, you know, I didn't mean what I said, but I do apologize for coming at you like that.
Yeah.
But I never get an apology.
And that's some of the things. At least you could own up for it.
Right.
You know, and no disrespect to, you know, our moms or anything, no disrespect, but it's always you have to come back and apologize.
Right.
And the trigger.
But she always made me apologize to anybody.
Yeah.
Always. I could be right. Like, they could be dead wrong. But since I was the kid, I had to apologize. I used to be heated.
Yeah.
It's like, why am I going to apologize to them? She'd be like, you better go and apologize. Now that I'm older, I appreciate it. The only reason why I say I appreciate it, because I own up to everything.
Yeah.
I think that's very important for people to own up. Just because you're wrong, you're wrong. It is what it is. Own up. That's growth.
It is.
And a lot of people can't take accountability.
That's some of the big problems. And also words. You know what I mean?
Right.
The words that come up. You mentioned triggers. Like, people feel like they could say certain stuff to certain people. But you never know that's a trigger. They may not come at you the time you said those negative words, but you may do something that would trigger it, and then all those negative words just come right back at you. You know, and that's some of the things. So, like, right now, you do have young kids who are going through ADHD,
Right.
and families
Like,
who are not
supportive
or embracing. You know,
Right. Like, I have a younger cousin. I already know she had ADHD. And at first, her mom didn't want to put her on medicine because she felt like she was kind of too young or whatever. But I believe she ended up getting on medicine and she started focusing. But I don't think she's on it now. I could be lying because she's... But she might be on it. One of my friend's daughters, I call her my niece, but if people seeing it, they're going to be thinking it's my real niece. So that's why I'm trying to explain the situation. They had her on, I think it was Ritalin, for a while, and I was like, she don't got ADHD. I was like, she got to learn behavior. Hers is learned behavior, is what she sees, you know, and for a while they had her on it, and then she went to her primary care, and the primary was like, I don't think your daughter got ADHD.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I felt the same way, where my godson, he has ADHD. You could tell. Like, he can't sit down to save his life. He can, but he can't.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes he takes, well, I don't know now because I haven't really seen him, but like before, I felt like he knew, like, all right, I could use this as my scapegoat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like his mom taught him that. It wasn't just him coming up with, I'm sneaky or whatever. I think his mom taught him that. And for all the parents out there that has a kid that has ADHD, stop giving them an excuse. You still have to hold them accountable. My mother might have not known I had ADHD, but she still held me accountable. I have a friend. Her son doesn't have ADHD, but he's very autistic.
Yeah.
And she treats her son just like the rest of her kids.
Yep.
There's no, all right, just because he's autistic and he's like nonverbal and stuff, I'm gonna like lighten his punishment. No, she's like, no, this is what it is. So I appreciate that parenting.
Yeah. No, that is true. I think a lot of the hesitation, especially when it comes to ADHD or any kind of mental health issue, is the whole medication.
Right.
You know, so parents is like, I don't want my kid on no meds now. They're too young. Now, how do you distinguish a kid being hyper? Because, you know, Well, when you were kids, we growing up, you hyper, you running around, you playing and stuff like that. How do you distinguish the two? Being a hyper kid versus ADHD, and that parent having to be like, I gotta put my kid on this medication. Right. Can we deal with coping skills instead of going to
I
medication?
do feel like that they should have coping skills first, but at the same time, once I got on the Adderall, I was like, oh my God, my life would have been so much easier, especially in school. So I'm a procrastinator, so I have to do my work the day before or the day of the deadline. If I do it before then, early, anxiety kicks in. I still have anxiety last minute, but I get my work done. I'm like, it's like I have to do it.
Yeah.
Where if I have time and I'm trying to do it, I'm stressing myself out because I'm all over the place. I don't know what to put. I don't know what to say. I'd be like, ooh, I should have put this. Nah. And it will take me even longer. So I just wait till the last minute. And it's not good, but it's...
Because if you do it early, you be second guessing yourself.
Right.
Pretty much.
Right. So I do everything at the last minute. It's not a good thing. It is a good thing to a certain extent, but it's really not. I felt like if I would have took... So when I read, there's times where I have to read a sentence like 3-4 times before I could really comprehend it. Like, I could read it, but sometimes it's just, I'm reading. Like, I could be reading, and it could be, I'm really at I, but my eyes are over at we, all the way over here. So in my head, I'm really over here, but me reading out loud, I'm over here. And then I get kind of jumbled up and confused, and then I'd be like, I have to read it 3 or 4 more times before I really get it. So once I started taking the medicine, and I'm just reading. There was a few times where I had to go back to a sentence or whatever, or the paragraph to read it over, to be like, I was like, did I really understand that? Because I was so shocked that I understood it, you know what I mean? So I am anti-medication to a certain extent, but I wish I did get diagnosed. And the reason why I think I didn't get diagnosed is, like she said, my mother didn't bring me to the doctors unless I really had to. My mother was my doctor. And all she did was, we could break our foot. She was giving us Robitussin. We were going to bed. Benadryl, sorry. Robitussin and Benadryl. We were going to bed.
Because, you go to that emergency room, you sitting there for hours. You're like,
Yeah, we didn't have medical. My mother wasn't paying that bill.
I'll take care of it.
Sure did. Every time we was sick or hurt, we was laid up in her bed. And I knocked out all day long. Then one day, I must have been 15. I was like, Mom, why every time me and Ron get either sick or like we broke up, we spring something? Like, you give us something and we're sleeping all day. So she's laughing. She was like, I got tired of you. So, Ma. She was like, yeah.
She's trying to get her sleep.
Her sleep. She wanted her me time. Because let me tell you, my mother was the favorite aunt, sister, cousin, the favorite. So everybody was at her house. Everybody would drop their kids off at the house and be out. Everybody. So my mother always had a whole bunch of kids. So she used to kick us out. It could be in the afternoon. She's like, all of y'all get out. But we get to go wherever we want. So my brother was the oldest. So what he would do was, it would be like, he's the oldest, and then Sherry would be the oldest girl. But Sherry's like 3 years older than me. So he'd be like, all right, guys, you just go do your thing. We go do ours. And then we meet back here. But we couldn't come back until 8 o'clock at night. My mother used to say, don't come here at 7:59 knocking on our door, and don't come here at 8:01. But living on the east side, I had a lot of family members that owned their own homes there. So it was like, if we need to go to the bathroom, technically we go upstairs because my uncle owned the house that we lived in.
Yeah.
Go down the street, round the corner the other way. We knew everybody, so it was like, so we used to be out going till somebody snitched and told them that we was on a whole nother side of town, even though I was like 11.
She was on the whole nother side.
Right. But, yeah, back to the ADHD. Yeah, we was on a whole nother side of town, and mouth.
What would you say you learned about ADHD, especially being diagnosed at 38, now up to this
I learned I should have been taking that medicine a long time ago, because it definitely, throughout the school, like I was always on the honor roll, and everybody would think it was so easy for me. It looked easy, but inside my head it wasn't, because everything bobbles up. So like when the students call and you make an appointment, I'd be like, what's the first 3 letters of your last name? if they go MANG, in my head, it's MAG. I forget the third letter. So I'd be like, no, you have to, for me, you have to give me just the first three. Once you give me the fourth, either I go with the fourth or all the words jumble up in my head.
Wow.
Yeah. So I could get irritated quick.
Okay. And what have you been using as a coping mechanism? I know you're on medication, so what
my
would you...
coping mechanism, as far as that right there,
yeah,
I understand the dynamics of the university, and I understand that there's different cultures, and I understand the fact that, you know, like, maybe in their culture, they don't ask for the first three. They have to give the whole name.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's a certain group of people that call, and I'll say, what's the first three letters of your last name? They give me the first three letters, but it ain't their last name. It's always their first name, and I'm just like, all right. I take a deep breath, especially when I see the picture, and I'll be like, all right.
Yeah.
And I assume, but it helps me out to not get irritated. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a deep understanding of things. So.
Yeah, and which is a good thing, because you are like a, you know, moving forward with everything that you do in your professional life and so forth. You're like an inspiration to someone.
Aww.
You know.
I am.
you are. You know, especially. You're out here, you're telling the viewers, you know, hey, I had ADHD.
I did.
You know, I went undiagnosed until I was age 38. And even between that time, before you got diagnosed, you graduated high school.
With honors.
With honors. She went to college.
Graduated with honors. And in high school, I was in college prep and a magnet. So in my high school, we had regular Hope. But, you know, it was just regular high school. Then we had the magnet program. The magnet program had theater, dance, business, sewing, chorus. First of all, I went to band. Knowing damn well I really couldn't play an instrument, but I did the clarinet for a little bit.
Look at that.
Then I said, these people are too advanced for me. No. I swore I was a singer. I went to chorus. I knew I couldn't sing. So I said, I'm not doing this. So I did sewing. Sewing was, I think that was my my junior year. That teacher, oh my God. We left her room. We always had cat hair. It used to stink like cat pee. I went to the principal. I said, Mr. Potter, I got to get out that room. Like, I need a different class. He was like, the only class you could get into is business. Put me in it.
She got it?
But you know what? I'm glad I did, because it helped me. I was 16 doing taxes. It taught me how to do taxes. It taught me how to write a proposal for a business. It taught me how to set up a business. So in that class, we had to set up a business. So I set up my business as a soap called Desire. But I took all the ingredients from Dove.
They would have came after you for the proceeds.
I just needed it for a project.
They would have came after you like, oh, you took our product.
Right.
But I mean, that's good, because you could say to someone watching this that you can still do it. You could do it.
You could definitely do it. I don't care what it is. There's times where like my younger nephew, he's diagnosed with autism, nonverbal. And it's crazy, because whenever I go over there, and, you know, his mom makes sure he goes to the different programs and stuff. And he says little words, and I be so excited. I be jumping up and down. He'll look at me like, the hell's wrong with you? I be like, he asked for help. Oh, my God. Like, I be so excited, like, you know. And I'm hyper, too. I get hyper sometimes. So, yeah, I be so excited. Like they gave him saying this is all he could do. And I look at it as, he's showing them like, you're never going to put restrictions on me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. Like, you're never going to put restrictions on me.
And also, one thing that comes to this, like, he's breaking barriers.
Right. But I saw a few kids break barriers. Even my friend that I was talking about. I'm definitely going to give a shout out to my friend Kim Cologne, because she be doing her thing with her son. And I remember the first time, you know, I heard him talk. I was excited. She was like, say hi, TT, Roro. He was like, head to Roro. I was like, oh my God. Then one day I went to the house. No. His father put a clip of him singing on Facebook. I almost cried. I was like, oh my God, like I could hear his voice. I'm sorry, I'm getting excited. I'm hyper. But I was like, oh my God. I was like, I could hear his whole voice. Like he sung the whole song. Like I remember when he couldn't even talk, like, you know. So that's exciting for me. I'm excited for everybody that could, you know what I'm saying, break them barriers and push forward and do what they gotta do. So
that's good. That's good.
And also I want to say, don't ever be embarrassed to say you have like ADHD or anxiety or you're depressed. It's all right, because your story might influence someone else, or there's somebody around that can help you.
I know. I always say that. Like, your story is helping somebody else.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people who, when they're going through this stuff, they don't have too many people to talk to. Or either people don't understand.
Y'all can talk to me.
Yeah, be like, oh, that person is different, or that person is weird. But you know what? There are people who go through that stuff.
Right.
Everybody goes
like
through something.
I felt like I was different, and my cousins that grew up with me probably felt the same way. I'm not sure. I was just very, like I said, impulsive, always saying something. And so when my younger cousins came around and they got of the age of where I know they needed to talk, I'm like, listen, I don't care what it is that you're going through. I don't care if I disagree with it. You come to me, because we're going to work this out together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I ain't going to say I felt alone growing up, but I did feel like off. So it was like, I felt alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I felt alone. And then, like, looking back at me with certain things when I was younger and knowing I got ADHD, everything clicks now.
Yeah.
Like, everything clicks. I'm like, I get it.
I think now times have even changed, because now with all this mental health awareness and stuff, it's more open. It's more out there. Whereas when we were growing up,
there was nothing. So I remember me and you talking, and I was like, back in the day, they'll look and say, what the hell is ADHD? No, my kid's just bad. You know what I'm saying? When we had that conversation, I was like, my family didn't look at it as, oh, she might have a problem, or there's a whole bunch of us that might have certain issues. You know what I mean? It's like, that was our norm.
Yeah. And people didn't talk about it because it would be a stigma.
Right. And also, I don't care if you're a parent, you're a child, you're a grandparent, you're a friend, you're a cousin, or whatever the case may be, if there's somebody that acts different, don't judge them. You know what I'm saying? They might be diagnosed with ADHD and you just don't know that, or they could be diagnosed with another mental illness. You don't know. Because I feel like a lot of people, once you're labeled, there's an issue.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't like labels.
No.
I love them. And the reason why I love them is because that label shows how that person can be. So don't get like frantic or discouraged or like, oh, I don't want to be around them because they display this type of mannerism. No, they might have an issue or they can't help it. But I will say this, even if you're diagnosed with something, don't sit there and be like, oh, I got ADHD, so this is an issue. No, work on it. Because I feel like with me, I probably would have been different, but I'm not, because I was so self-aware of myself. And my family was like, right is right and wrong is wrong.
Yeah.
And that's how I was raised, so I understood that part. So I think that helped me out, but they did think I was a little odd, or they say certain things about me, and I'm just looking like, what? So now I got something to say, but maybe if they knew I had ADHD with my impulsiveness, or I'm always sick, like I remember my cousins always saying, you play too much, go sit down. But my first cousins are my mom's age. My grandmother had my mother later on in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mother's maybe a few years older than my first cousin, well, my oldest first cousin. You know what I'm saying? So it was different. So like, me and my mom would get in an argument, and she'd tell one of my guy cousins, and they'll come and yell at me. And I used to get so mad, because I'm like, yo, you didn't even ask me what happened, what's going on. I was just, I'm ignorant, I'm disrespectful. No, I'm not even that. Yeah, I'm not letting nobody talk to me in a way. And I guess I just didn't know that I had, you know, and it came with it.
Yeah.
It definitely came with it. But now that I'm older, I forget more. I'm very forgetful.
It's coming with that age, remember you said? That youthful age.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up for tonight, what are some last, comments you want to say before we
My
wrap
last
this
comments?
up to the viewers?
My last comments are, don't be embarrassed, like I said. Speak up. Because when I went to Johnson & Wales, and I used to say, because you see me going like this all the time, I have to do something with my hands all the time. So I would tell them, I usually take a pen and I'll tap. Or I'll get up and just walk, because I can't sit for a long period of time. And I used to raise my hand and be like, listen, I'm letting everyone know now, I was not diagnosed with ADHD, but I believe I have it. If I'm tapping, just let me know it's bothering you, I'll stop. But I might get up, I might start rocking. So that's the only thing I'm kind of embarrassed of, me rocking. Or going like this, because I'd be like, they don't think I'm slow. People don't know me, they're going to think I'm slow or something. I really don't care what people say, but at the same time, I'm like, they don't think I'm slow. So I really try to, sit straight or something like that. But I can't help myself. But anyway, so being in, see how I could skip around too, talking. So being in college, I used to say something. So I remember this one class, 2 people ended up emailing me saying, thank you so much for being honest and upfront. They were like, because I got ADHD and I'm embarrassed to say that out loud. I'm like, don't be embarrassed. There's nothing wrong with you. You just have certain characteristics that you can't help to a certain extent. But once you're self-aware of yourself, you handle it. Because if I wasn't self-aware of myself, or I wasn't knowledgeable about different mental illnesses, I think I'll be all messed up in the head.
Yeah.
And my family was very educational, so
Yeah.
And they were structured.
And that's good.
So it kept me away. I think that if my family was different, that ADHD would have just took over with everything. And I think I don't really fall into I think I have seasonal depression to a certain extent. Each season comes, I get a little, and then I'm happy. You know what I mean? But yeah, I forgot what I was saying. I ain't gonna lie, this comes with ADHD. There was a few times I was trying to play it off. When I was talking about something, I was like, and yeah, I kind of forget.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming on today just to shed some light from your experience, as stated before, and just to also, tell the viewers that, everybody's going through something.
Everybody. And including me. I'm still going through some stuff.
We all do.
I'm still battling.
Yeah, we all have our challenges. We all go through every day to day. I think every one of us have had some type of anxiety depending on what you're going through, but just be empathetic.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I do want to say, try to figure out what your coping skills are, because them coping skills would definitely help you out. I had a whole bunch of different coping skills, but one of my coping skills, it's simple. I always took my little cousins with me everywhere. So they were my coping. They made me happy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So me seeing them, I was just like, I felt like everything went away. And then they were gone, everything came back.
Yeah.
So make sure you find them coping skills, or try to figure out how you can handle stressful situations in that moment. That was going to be one of my niches for life coaching. I kind of switched up, but
yeah,
I would definitely talk to anybody that has ADHD. And I can help you with coping skills, and I could definitely help you with handling stressful situations in the moment. Because, yeah, I do. I have to, because I go off the deep end.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with 2 people, and they were saying something. I was just like, all right, well, just tell me the date, and I'll be there. Because if I would have ran my mouth,
yeah,
once I would have opened up, yeah,
that would have been it.
That would have been it.
Okay, that is true. Coping skills, true.
Yeah.
And also,
and that's what I tried. I tried the coping skills for them. I was 38, and then they just wasn't working.
Yeah. And I think a coping skill is you're gonna be doing it. I think sometimes what people have to do is short terms and long term goals.
You tell me that all the time.
Yeah, short terms, and don't always put this big expectation, because then if you put this big expectation and it doesn't work out, that's when someone's like, you know what, I give up. I'm not gonna do it anymore.
And what I do is I think about the emotional coping skills and then the problem solving coping skills.
Yeah.
You know, so like, say if you told your child to clean their room. A week later, it's still dirty. You go in the room before you go to work, they go to school, you're frustrated. You be like, when you get home, you better clean, your room better be clean. You come home, your kid's just chilling, playing video games.
What are you doing?
So what do? The emotional coping skills would be, before you approach them, because I'm approaching my kid, I might take a bath. I might do some type of self-care. I might do deep breathing. But the problem solving coping skills, or the problem solving focus point, it will be going to your child and saying, get off the game. Because I need to relax before I talk. Because if I talk, my feelings come out. Now I'm yelling and cursing and things. So that's why I say with certain situations I have to do both, the emotional and the problem solving. So I would have to sit back, take a shower, do some type of zenfulness, and then I'm gonna talk to you. Because now I'm calm. Because I have to process things.
Yeah.
And then, all right, now get off the game. Give me the game. You're not having this for a while. You're on punishment for a while. And me personally, I would sit and be like, what made you feel like you don't have to clean your room?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But make sure you put them restrictions down. I feel like a lot of parents will go and yell at the kids, so they didn't even take care of that emotional side of it. You're yelling at your kids. Some hit the kids. The kids are not perceiving anything. They're just looking at it as, I'm getting yelled at or getting hit. No, talk to them. So that's what I do with a lot of situations. I be like, all right, do I need the emotional coping skill with this situation? But I always have that problem solving coping skill with it.
All right. Any last minute comments?
My last minute comment is, I love everybody. Thank you for having me.
As always.
And like I said, always stand up for yourself. Always believe in you. Love you. Take care of you. It's all about you. And then you can take care of everything else. And don't be embarrassed of whatever your label is.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. And thank you once again for joining us today to talk about ADHD, and also listening to Ro and her experience in regards to what she's been through with ADHD and how she's going on in her life. Like she said, believe in you, be positive. Positivity is what counts, and in your mindset, because you will always have some negativity around, but just always remain positive. You have good days, you have your bad days. It's expected, we all do. Each and every one of us do, but don't give up on your dream. And you wanted to say one more thing, I can tell.
Yeah, I already forgot.
Oh.
That comes a long way.
Yeah. But thank you for joining us. Please subscribe to this channel, like and share. And as always, have a blessed week.
Always watch, because you'll learn something from this.
Get something from it, even though we're going on and on about different things. Like I said, this is just to, see a person's experience who has experienced ADHD. So it's not to diagnose or to treat.
Right.
But just to
tell what
bring
happened.
some awareness of,
And don't second guess yourself.
Yes.
I always second guess myself. I don't know. I was just thinking as she was talking, and I was just thinking of elementary school, middle school, and high school. My teachers always used to say, Rolanda, stop second guessing yourself.
Yes.
Stop second guessing yourself.
So, and just remain positive. As always, have a blessed night. And we'll see you next time on the Uplifting Waiting Room podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Good night. Bye.